So what other tips do you have? I know you are constantly throwing tips on Instagram. And again, if y'all go check out his Instagram, you're going to see tips for wives, tips for marriages, tips for husband. What's the first tip that you can bring to the podcast today other than communication?
One of the tough ones I feel like to talk about, and this one ain't a sexy one. This one is not appealing. This is one of the ones that kind of ruffle feathers too. But this one is if men can figure out how to teach their wives to submit. I'm joking.
How about to say,
your
man?
Face, look. He said, "Oh man, they about to tear this podcast down." Cancel.
We're about to be on cancel culture for real. Submit. What's this? Come on.
That word is a cuss word.
Yeah,
that is profanity. I'm not going there today. But
we got to at some point.
We
got to follow up something. Yeah,
but it doesn't completely mean what everybody take offense and get it to me. But
welcome to the More Love Connection podcast. This is your host, Jannard D. Moore. Before we start the show, we officially want to invite you to become a Patreon for the More Love Connection podcast. If you don't know what Patreon is just a way to support your favorite podcasters or content creators. For just as little as $1 a month, you can officially support the More Love Connection podcast. If you're interested, we'd love to have you as an official More Love Nation supporter. So go over to www.patreon.com/MLCXN. Again, that's www.patreon.com/MLCXN. If you become an official supporter, you'll get access to behind the scenes content. You'll get access to guests. You'll be able to know who the guests are before we even announce on social media, and a plethora of other things. So think about becoming a More Love Connection podcast supporter. We'd be honored to have you as an official supporter. Again, that's www.patreon.com/MLCXN. For just as low as $1 a month, you can officially support the podcast. Now, let's jump right over to the episode.
All right, More Love Nation, we are back with another Husbands 101 part to this series. Man, I'm telling y'all, this series is so amazing. Husbands, wives, if you have not subscribed to the More Love Connection podcast, make sure you do so. If you're listening or looking at this on YouTube, make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. That way you can be notified every time we release a new episode. Also, if you're listening to this on your favorite podcasting platform, make sure you hit the icon to like this content. That way you can be notified when we release new podcast episodes on your favorite podcasting platform. But again, man, this Husbands 101 series is amazing. I am learning a lot as I guess you would consider me still a newlywed husband, being married 5 years. But every single guest that we have had on, I have had the pleasure of interacting with them on Clubhouse. And I'm going to bring my brother on. I'm just going to go ahead and bring him on. Mr. Ty Francis, what is going on?
My man, I appreciate you having me on your show.
Hey, man. So everybody, before we go any further, let me introduce. This is Mr. Ty Francis. He is a pastor. He is a husband. He is a father. He's an amazing dude, man. I've been watching his content on Instagram. I had the pleasure of joining some rooms with him on Clubhouse. So before we go any further, make sure y'all go over and spam his comments, hit him on Instagram, like all of his pictures, like all of his videos. His Instagram is @IamTyFrancis. I'm gonna link it down below. Also, like I said, he's a pastor, so you can follow his church Instagram at Flowing Life Charlotte. Check out their website, www.flowinglife.org. They do stream live on Sundays at 10 a.m. So head over to Facebook, check out Flowing Life Charlotte, and check out Pastor Ty Francis, man.
I appreciate that plug.
So how you doing today?
Man, I'm feeling good. I'm ready to get into this conversation because I know we need this. Like you were saying, I need it too.
Hey,
I'm almost 9 years tomorrow.
Nine
years tomorrow,
and I'm still
anniversary. Thank you, sir. I'm still in it too, learning every day.
Man, look, I'm 5 years in, and when I talk to people, and even operating rooms and running rooms on Clubhouse, I hear people say 20 something years, 30 something years, and I'm
Right.
just like, bro, 5 years seem like a long
Bro.
time.
Bro, listen. You ain't
Man,
saying nothing. I
and
know.
look, you 9 years in, it's like, God, I feel like we've been married forever, and it's like, wait,
Man, listen. Anytime I hear that, I'm applauding because I'm just like, bro, tell me what you did to reach 15. Tell me what you did to reach 20.
hey, look,
Yeah.
I got a coworker who works with me at the college I work at, and he's been married for 55 years. And his advice that he gave me, I know we're gonna get into this, but he's like, man, when you get to this stage, he was like, your wife is always right, and just let her run everything, and you just sit back and pay the bills and just give her money. It's like,
And you know what's funny about that? If you were to say that, everybody will buck the system. They
yeah,
will beat you. They would stone you for that. But once you got some years, once you got some miles, once you got some wisdom, they like, look, y'all young fellas,
look,
y'all don't know what y'all talking about. Give up.
look. Another little side story here. I think I might have. I don't know if I put it on Instagram, but I think I did. I broke my foot like 2 weeks ago,
Oh,
and the way I broke my foot, being hard headed, I had a piece of marble countertop that we got put in, and they had an extra piece, and they left it at the house, right?
mm-hmm.
So Destiny, my wife, for weeks, you need to throw that piece of marble away.
There you
Nah,
go.
I think I'm
There
gonna
you
use it
go.
for some artwork or for something. I'm gonna use it for
There you go.
you know. Jay, you need to
Uh,
throw that piece of marble. Nah, I'm good. Let me tell you how I broke my foot.
Let me guess how you broke your foot.
Look, that marble piece fell right on my toe.
Listen,
So,
and I just got one question. Did she say I told you so, or did she just nod and just walk away?
man, I screamed and I was yelling in the basement, and she came down and was like, "You all right? I told you should have threw that thing away."
Uh,
I was
uh,
like, "Not right
uh.
now. Not right now. Now ain't the time.
Give me a few
Give
minutes.
me a few minutes." All right, man. So let's go ahead and get into this content again. If you haven't, make sure you go over and follow Ty Francis at I am Ty Francis on Instagram. I'm telling y'all, his content is thought provoking. You might jump in his comments because he be posting some stuff that make you think, okay,
Uh, y'all don't beat me
So,
up, man. Y'all don't beat
hey,
me up.
don't beat him up too bad. Show him some love. Show him some love. But Ty, so let's jump into this, man. So we both are married.
Absolutely.
Let's just start off, like, do you have any tips for husbands, like especially newlyweds? Like, what's one tip or one piece of advice you can give a newlywed husband?
Man, listen, anytime somebody asks me for marriage advice, at least usually when it's kind of general and kind of vague, I normally say the same thing almost every single time, which my first thing is communication is clutch. Communication is key. Man, it cannot be overemphasized enough, honestly. I mean, pretty much any situation, any problem, any heartache, anything that you're going through, we potentially can get through this if we can communicate, if we can
Yeah,
talk about it, even if it's a hard situation. Bro, when I tell you, like, we have to have hard conversations. The thing about marriage is, like, this ain't just your girlfriend. They ain't just somebody, we had a fight or we're not getting along, or hey, I'm gonna go over to my homie's house, spend the night over there. Nah, we gonna work this thing out. You know what I mean?
right.
We need to talk about it. And what's the words that most guys hate to hear in a relationship? And those words are, we need to talk.
Man.
It it don't matter if it's a text message, if it's an email, if she called you on the phone, hey babe, we need to talk when you get home.
Yeah,
Hey, bro, you hate to hear it because
man.
immediately you think, what did I do?
What? Look, you
What
running through
happened?
scenarios.
Bro, everything,
Every
bro. I mean, literally, like, from something as simple as, did I leave the dish out on the counter last night? Did I take out the trash? What did I forget? All right, I picked up the kids from school. I got to. All right, yeah, I got everything. I mean, the simplest things,
yeah.
the simplest things, down to the hard things like this: sex, awkward conversation,
Even when you're married.
even when you're married. That's the crazy part. Awkward conversation, because you're talking about a man who feel like, oh, I know what to do in the bedroom. I know I satisfy my woman. I take care of mine in the bedroom.
Yep.
Whatever. Ask her what she thinks about it. You'll be surprised, maybe. You know what I mean? It's some things that you might want to change. Be some things that you need to rethink. You have these hard conversations that may be super awkward. But then after you have these conversations, it's like a breath of fresh air. Because then you can move forward. You can move on. You can I find out where my spouse is. If we've gone a long time without talking or without communicating, or something came up, or I felt some kind of way about something, we don't talk about it. We go a long time without talking about it. I don't know what space she's in.
Right.
I don't know where her mind is. I don't know if she's over it. I don't know if she's thinking about it. But communication has been our biggest thing in our marriage that has sustained us, that has kept us. That's our kind of go-to. It's just like anything that comes up, man, we can talk through this. We can work through this. It's gonna be a hard conversation. It's gonna be awkward at the beginning. I mean, I love you. I don't want to hurt you. But we do have to talk about this. Otherwise, if I just brush it under the rug and brush it under the covers, then I'm gonna be holding on to some bitterness, and I'm gonna release it one day.
Right.
And I'm gonna say some things I really don't want to say.
Yeah. Man, that's big. And I didn't even realize, earlier last week, Destiny hit me with, I was talking and she said something. She was like, you got anything else you want to say? And I'm like, wait a minute. Whoa. Like, wait a minute. What's a new one? I thought I said everything, and I start asking like, okay, wait a minute, and I'm just like, okay, you throwing me off. You ever seen the movie Inside Out, the cartoon movie?
Yes.
Man, I'm tweeting
everybody on the controls.
Man, everybody is like, wait a minute, it's a new question. What did she say? What's going on there? It's like,
wait a minute. I said I'm sorry, right? Did I say that right? Wait,
I said I apologize. So what other tips do you have? I know you are constantly throwing tips on Instagram, and again, if y'all go check out his Instagram, you're gonna see tips for wives, tips for marriages, tips for husband. What's the first tip that you can bring to the podcast today, other than communication?
One of the tough ones I feel like to talk about, and this one ain't a sexy one. This one is not appealing. This is one of the ones that kind of ruffle feathers too. But this one is, if men can figure out how to teach their wives to submit. I'm joking.
I'm about to say, man,
look. He said, "Oh man, they about to tear this podcast down. Cancel.
We're about to be on cancel culture for real. Submit. What's this? Come on,
word is a cuss word.
Yeah,
that is profanity. I'm not going there today. But
we got to at some point.
We
got to follow up something. Yeah,
but it doesn't completely mean what everybody take offense and get it to me. But here's the thing. So like in Ephesians chapter 5, it breaks down talking about husbands, love your wives, right? Wives, submit to your husband. Wives, honor, respect your husband. Here's the thing though. It's like men always harp on, and I'm saying men because this is who this is catered to. We talking to men. And so I'm not talking from a wife's perspective of what the wife needs to do. I do some of that sometimes on my posts. But for this, I'm talking specifically to men. Like, we can harp all day about, my wife ain't submissive. My wife don't listen to me. My wife don't honor me. My wife don't respect me. My wife don't. Man, but if you go back and look at this passage, it's like we harp on the submissive part. Yeah, the Bible say submit to your husband, but then it's like, yeah, but what else does it say? Husbands, love your wife.
Yep.
Love your wife. But then it says right after that, as you love yourself. That's the problem. Yep. How am I love somebody and I don't love myself?
Come on.
How am I gonna honor somebody and I don't honor myself? Like I would almost argue, like, if you can't, if you have a hard time letting things go, if you have a hard time forgiving your wife, right? I would almost argue that's probably an internal problem. You know what I'm saying? Now, like, I'll probably argue there's probably somewhere in your life where you not let go of something for yourself, like where you haven't forgiven yourself. Yeah. Dang, bro, I wish I wouldn't have married her. I wish I'd have knew this about her before I got married. And so now every time she does something, it's hard for you to let go because now you're thinking about, dang, bro, I just can't let go of what happened 5 years ago. I can't, she had told me, whatever. But it's like, we can't get past that part.
Right.
Husbands, love your wives. Then it goes on even a step further. love your wives like Christ loved the
Like,
church.
gosh, yep.
Bro, that's tough, man.
Yeah.
That's
And that's
tough. Like, how I'ma love her so much that I'm gonna be willing to take a bullet for her when some days you wake up and you don't want to even make a waffle for her. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like the simple things you don't
That's,
want to do, but let alone like I'm supposed to die for this woman that don't love me, that don't respect me, that treat me like crap. Then I put something on IG early today talking about husbands love and wives honor, or wives respect, and the husband, he's looking for his wife to respect him, the wife is looking for the husband to love him, and sometimes like they miss because like, but I need him to love me, but I need her to respect me, but
yeah.
she's looking for you to love her, he's looking for you to respect him, and it's a mutual thing that you're looking for. But at the same time, like, as a man, I got to recognize at some point, like, the reason that she does not honor me, respect me, I'm not going to say the S word. The reason she doesn't honor me, the reason she doesn't respect me is because it's hard for a woman to honor and respect, dare I say, quote unquote, submit to somebody who doesn't have vision.
Come on. Yeah.
Bro, you don't got
Yeah.
no dream. You don't got no goals.
Yeah.
You have no clear vision for your house. Like, I ain't trying to be teaching the Bible or nothing,
No, man, look,
but
it's needed.
bro,
It's
like,
needed. The
if you go
conversation.
back to history of Genesis, like, God created Adam, and the first thing he gave him was a job. He said, hey, I need you to manage, I need you to look over it. You said it. I don't think you were recording, but before we started, you said there's a difference between managing and leading. That's where Adam messed up. He had a job to manage. God said, hey, I need you to look over the garden, I need you to manage it. This is before Eve, this is before he was a husband, this is before he was a father.
Right.
Right? Manage it. He messed up because he wasn't a good leader. Right?
Right.
We ain't go. That's
We
another
ain't gonna go.
conversation.
Yeah.
So like he was put there to manage. Like, he had a vision. This is what it's supposed to look like. This is what we're growing. This is what we're doing. This is how I manage it. This is how I work it. And then Eve was created, but he had a vision before they met.
Right.
I see this so vividly, like with marriages. Like, you're dating. Oh, that man got vision. That man going after his dream. He going after his goals. You get married, and then it's like he gets complacent. Wife is like, what you want to do tonight? Oh, I'm chilling.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, we should take a trip. Let's go on a vacation. Oh, that costs too much.
Right.
Hey, let's, such and such is happening in the city tonight. Let's check it out. Nah, I'm good. I'm gonna watch the game. He gets real chill, real complacent. Then when she wants to know, all right, what's the vision for our family? What's the goals for our family? She don't find nothing. It's hard for me to submit to something that it's hard for me to honor. It's hard for me to respect somebody who doesn't have any goals, somebody who doesn't have a clear vision for our relationship. And then the wife feels like she got to take over that role as the visionary. So it's like, now she's looking at you like, all right, bro, I need you to submit to me.
Right. Like, come on, I'm running, and it ain't nothing wrong with an independent women. Don't
Absolutely not.
don't get us wrong.
Absolutely not.
When I kicked off this series, first guest we had on, Pastor Harris, he said something. He was like, a lot of times when we get married, you are her husband by law, before God, you are her husband, but you're not her man yet. And I was like, wait a minute. Okay, let's and then if y'all haven't listened, go back and listen to the episode with Pastor Harris. But he said, you're not her man yet. And everything that you literally just said was the same exact thing. So what I am seeing in this series is there are common things for husbands to follow, and those common core foundation principles for husbands, having a vision, being able to lead, being able to know the difference between good leadership and managing. And it's not necessarily saying you're on the job, but you are leading a wife, you're leading a family. And I go back to what you just said about Adam and Eve, and I can see that vividly. Like, God gave him a vision. When he got his spouse, he gave her the vision.
He absolutely did.
She followed him, and it even, if you even go, like you said, you go back to Genesis, it just talks about their daily duties, the stuff that they were doing. She followed him in the Garden of Eden until they failed. But she wouldn't have followed that man if he didn't have no vision. And so even what you're saying with, like, for husbands, you got to have that vision. And I know you got some more tips, but how do you get a vision as a husband? If I'm newly married, how do I cast vision for my family and obtain vision?
So I have two perspectives of this, and I have two ideas about this. One is being realistic about the fact that every guy who's married may not have had a vision when they got married, right? May not have had their goals written out, may not have had a plan, may not have been thinking like, oh, all right, I need to know my 5-year plan. I want to know my 10, 15-year plan. They may not have. Maybe you just got married on a whim. Maybe you just kind of, fell in love. Maybe you got married really young. You're still trying to figure it out. I get that. But if I could recommend anything to a single man, it would be to have that vision before you get married, right? Going back to Adam, like he had a role before he was a husband, before she even came. So that just allowed him even to identify her, say, hey, this is bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. Like he identified her, he gave her a name, you know what I mean? But like having that, so she has a place to fit in, so that she knows how to help you as a husband. Otherwise, I don't know how to help you if I don't know what we're working towards. Obviously, if you're the person who got married on a whim or young or early or before you kind of had, all of your goals and vision mapped out, not to say that you knew everything, but at least, all right, I know what I want to do maybe in the next 5 years or so. If you're that person who's trying to figure it out, maybe now, that's something that you need to sit down and write out. But here's the beautiful part about it. If you're married, this is your wife. This ain't just your girl. This ain't just your homie. This ain't just your friend. This ain't just girl up the street. Your wife would want to sit down with you and help you map it out. Like, I mean, she would probably be excited about it. Like, bro, my man actually wants me to help him write this thing out. Like, and then you might find out your wife, she might not even be the encouraging type. She might not be the type to always pat you up on the back. But I guarantee you 9 times out of 10, you'll see another side of your wife. Your wife would be like, babe, look, this is what I see you doing. You got so much potential. I believe in you. And I don't know about you, Jannard, but bro, that's probably the sexiest thing you can hear from your wife.
I agree. I agree because I agree.
When she tells you, hey, I believe in you, to me, that's everything. I'll climb up a pole butt backwards.
Look, I'm telling you, I'll be like these people out here building spaceships and stuff. Let my wife tell me something like that.
I'm telling you,
I go out there and build a spaceship.
She'll back you, but then also like she sees things in you that maybe you don't see. One of my boys, he calls them blind spots. And so it's like, obviously, you have your vision and you have your thoughts on what you see, but she sees things outside of your peripheral. And so once you give her an opportunity or permission to help you in those areas, hey, babe, what do you think about this? What are your thoughts about this? Then she's able to kind of help you narrow down. Okay, well, this is what I think would be helpful. This is what I really would like to do. And then you can come together and build that. If not, if you're in a situation where whatever, I can't ask her, we're in an unhealthy place right now, we're not really communicating like that, whatever it is, then again, that's still something that you got to take time, that you got to put on paper, that you got to cast out for yourself as a man, for yourself even.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think you can call yourself a real man and not have vision and not have goals and not have a dream. Like, I mean, you're just existing. Just like, if you're working on a job and you got a supervisor, I would have a very hard time listening to a supervisor that doesn't even have goals for the business. We're like, what are we here for? We're wasting our time. Let me find another job.
Something where somebody know where they're going.
Exactly. And so, I've just found that people, they don't have a hard time following somebody that has a vision. If you're talking about church, you got a pastor that got a vision, people will sign up for it. You don't have to beg people to give money. You don't got to beg for tithes and offering. You don't got to chase people around. You got to call people. Hey, I ain't see you today. Where you at? You don't got to do that. If you have vision, people connect the vision. If you trying to get into college and you're trying to get a scholarship or a grant, you write out, right? You got to put this thing on paper. You submit it to the college. You say, hey, this is why I think I qualify for this grant. There's money sitting out there waiting for vision, right? Yep. They're waiting. They're just waiting for this thing to be put on paper. All right. Grants for business, angel investors, like they buy into vision. You have that thing on paper. They see, okay, next 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. Okay. We're all in. Right. And it's similar with your wife, man. She sees vision. She's all in. She doesn't see vision. Then she starts to question, well, why am I following? Maybe I need to get up here beside you. Maybe I need to get in front of you. That's a whole nother conversation too.
Man, and look, and I know I'm gonna get back to your tips, but even in that standpoint of maybe I need to get up here beside you, maybe I need to get in front of you or whatever. I think for husbands, we have to also understand that it's okay to be vulnerable and let our
Absolutely.
spouse, or especially our wives, take
Absolutely.
take the lead, if you will. But let's get back to these tips. What's the second tip you got for us?
I think this is number 3.
Yeah, because we did communication. All right. Yep.
Let me see. Oh, this is a really good one.
All right.
Change is not always bad. Change is not always bad. You always, sometimes I've talked to plenty of guys. Me and my wife, we've done a lot of marriage counseling, even though we only 9 years in. They threw us in marriage counseling early. but what I can say is that we had very good marriage counselors, even well before we got married. We got really good training, but we've been counseling for a few years now. But one of the things that I've heard a lot is like, bro, she's changed. This ain't the woman I married.
Yep.
She ain't act like that when we got married. She acting brand new, or she starting to do this. She's starting to do that. And so normally I start asking questions. What is she doing? What's changed? What does it look like? What did she do before? And what I find out a lot of times, not all the time, but what I find out a lot of the times is that some of those changes are actually good, and that the guy just didn't come up with the upgrade.
Come on. Yep.
Like, bro, like to give just today, anniversary is tomorrow. And we had this crazy idea. We were like, well, let's try. We've been wanting to do this. I don't know what it's called. It's like a Goodwill date or a thrift store date or something like that. But it's where you go to the thrift store, you go to Goodwill, and I pick out an outfit for her. She picks out an outfit for me from Goodwill.
Okay.
You have to find something. Whatever you find, you have to wear it, and then you go on a date. Don't get to explain to nobody why you on a date. You just wear it. You're not trying to clown each other, but you're trying to find the best thing for them, right? And so when we went out, I said, all right, well, we can go together and we can pick out something. She's like, no, we got to go separate. That way I can see if you really know me. You can see if I really know you. I'm like, oh boy, this is going to end bad. I'm like, because when it comes to shopping for clothes for her, I'm just like, I don't touch it anymore because I failed badly too many times. And there's still a lot of stuff in her closet that she still doesn't wear.
Man,
So
go ahead. I know the feeling, bro. I just give you the card. Hey, you do you. Do you.
Man, go ahead, help yourself. So we go. Long story short, after we do the reveal and we show each other the clothes, she's laughing. She's like, yeah, I wouldn't wear this. Yeah, I don't like that color. Yeah, I don't like these boots. They're horrible. And in my mind, I'm like, bro, like I thought I killed it. Like I thought I hit it on the nail. I was like, yo, you gonna look good in this. Like this is nice. And so once we got in the car, here's when we go back to communication. I could have been offended. Could have been like, bro, like I had you figured out. Like this is what you like. I know this is what you like. This is what you told me you like. When we got in the car, I'm like, all right, so let's walk through this. I'm just curious. So what don't you like about it?
I love that question,
bro. It was gold. That question was.
question.
I didn't even know how good it was, but after she started talking, I was like, oh my god. So she started to break down. Okay, well, I like the design of the jacket, but I don't like the color. Okay, I like how it looks, but I don't like camel. I said, but you like earth tones. She said, I do, but I don't like camel. I said, but I got you brown boots. She said, yeah, but I don't like the buckle on the boots and I don't like the suede and I don't. I was like, okay. All right, slow down.
Like, yeah.
I'm like, okay, so what's wrong with the, it was like a dress or romper or something like that. I don't know. So I'm like, so what's wrong with this? And she's like, all right, that's okay, but it's kind of old. It's kind of outdated. So nobody really wears that anymore. Whatever. So I asked all the questions, and so it gave me better understanding. Like, okay, so I started asking more questions. All right, so what colors do you like? Do you like pastels? No. Do you like bright colors, prime colors? No. But you do like earth tones? Yes. All right, but I only like these earth tones. Okay. All right, what don't you like about the boots? I don't like the buckle. I don't like how high they come. Okay. What don't you like about the romper? Oh, it's just old. I like the color. So I'm like, but this is stuff you used to like. And she was like, yeah, I used to, but I don't anymore. You've changed.
Yeah.
You've changed. Her love language used to be quality time when we first got married. it seems overnight, it was like one day it just turned into acts of service. But it wasn't communicated. So I'm still thinking, quality time, I'm killing it. Like, we're going out to the park, we chilling, we hanging out, Netflix and chill, like whatever. And then I'm not really feeling this. Can you go clean the kitchen?
Man,
wait a minute.
Yeah.
Hey, man, you want to catch that movie tonight? Can you go take out the trash? Can you go back in the other room? Wait a minute. Like, where's this conversation going? What just happened? So it wasn't until we finally had a conversation that she's like, yeah, that's kind of changed. Like right now, my love language is acts of service. And so that's the sexiest thing you can do. Like, when you're doing the dishes, like, that does it for me. Like, when you go outside, you cut the grass, that does it for me. Like, when you fix the light switch on the wall, like, that does it for me. When I see you with power tools, like, that does it for me. With quality time, yeah, it's cool. It's like, when did that change?
Right.
But it changed for the good. But I just didn't notice. I didn't know. And so oftentimes when those changes happen, I often say, if you're not growing together, you're growing apart. If you're not constantly communicating while you're growing, then obviously you're not growing together. You're growing apart. You're always growing. You're either growing seed or you're growing weed. It's going to be grass shooting up or it's going to be weeds growing up. And so at some point you got to come back together and say, all right, let's communicate. Let's talk, because we ain't been on the same wavelength. But once you do, it's like you hit the refresh button. You hit the reset where it's just like, okay, we got that vibe back. Like, I feel almost like newlyweds again. Like, this is fresh. It's refreshing. Like, this feels good. I feel like I know you again. But you don't have those conversations. Like, you just, I don't know where you are. And oftentimes, I'd hate to say it, but oftentimes it's the woman that she's getting the upgrade before the men.
Yeah.
She gets tired of the house quickly. She wants a new house. She wants more space. She wants new clothes. For the guy, he's like, bro, like, this is good. Like, this is chill. Like, we got everything we need. But for her, it's like she's going to another level. So
right.
I don't fight it anymore, just because I've seen the proof in the pudding. Like, when she adjusts, when she changes, and we have those conversations, and I notice, it's like it normally turns out good. Just like that whole marble situation falling on your foot.
Man,
turns out
look
pretty good.
Let me. Well, we're gonna take a quick commercial break, and we'll come right back. But before we do that, I want to say, you said your wife changed, and it was acts of service, and she liked the power tools, and she liked cutting the grass. I remember a post that you put up, and we're gonna segue to the commercial on this. But I remember a post you put up when you went to your wife asking for that riding lawnmower. Look, tell her, look, that's your love language is acts of service, and I can get this service done faster if you let me get a riding lawnmower.
I think she wants me to take longer so she has more time in the house to herself.
I got a question. I got a question for you about this change. Right after we take this More Love Connection podcast commercial break, we'll be right back with you with more Ty Francis. If you haven't done so, make sure you go over and follow Ty at I am Ty Francis on Instagram. Also follow Flowing Life Church. But we'll be right back with you with more Love Connection podcast.
Hey, what's going on, More Love Nation? We'd like for you to check out the official merchandise for the More Love Connection podcast. Simply head over to Instagram, search at More Love CXN, and click on our bio, and you can hit View Shop. You can purchase merchandise directly from Instagram, or you can go over to our website, www.morelovecxn.com/merch. Check out the official merchandise for the More Love Connection podcast. Check the show notes if you want to click from the podcast episode.
Hey, More Love Nation, if you all are enjoying this episode, stop what you're doing. Make sure you hit that like button. Also, go down into the comments if you're watching this on YouTube. Leave us a comment. If you're listening to this on your favorite podcasting platform, make sure you take a screenshot of you listening to the episode, head over to your Instagram, upload it to your IG stories, and tag at More Love CXN. Once we see the notification, we'll share it with our audience. Also, make sure if you're listening on your favorite podcasting platform to leave a 5-star rating and a review. Reviews help new listeners find the More Love Connection podcast. So stop what you're doing, take the screenshot, leave a comment, just show some love. Another way that you can show us some love is by going to check out our website. Go to www.morelovecxn.com. Check out the merch tab. We have some sweatshirts, some hoodies. Go over and check out our merch tab. Also, for low as $1 a month, you can become an official supporter of the More Love Connection podcast. All you have to simply do is go to www.patreon.com/MLCXN. If you have not done so, make sure you subscribe to the podcast, subscribe to the YouTube, share it with your friends and your family. Again, that's the More Love Connection podcast. You know you like it. Go ahead and share it. Now, let's get right back to the episode. All right, More Love Nation, man. We are back with Ty Francis. I hope y'all are taking notes. Hope you have your pens out. Hope you, if you're listening on your phone, hope you have your notepad out because we're getting some good content from Ty Francis. So we're going to bring Ty back on. We left off talking about change, and I had a question for you before we went to commercial. But before I ask you the question, one of the things that you said, and it resonated with me, is I heard Steve Harvey say, and when he said it, I was like, wait, what is he talking about? But he said, when you marry a woman, you marry at least 5 to 6 different people. And I was like, wait, I'm only married one person now. Wait, I ain't with that crazy, you know. But he ended up breaking it down to exactly what you were talking about, just how females and how women changed in different seasons of their lives. And so my question to you is, do you feel like do you think that change came about in your wife after kids?
That's precisely what I was about to say. So, got married and I'm learning her as a wife. I know her as a girlfriend. Well, I know her as a friend. We're best friends, homies. Now I know you as a girlfriend. Now I know you as a wife. That's a whole adjustment process. But then once we had our first child, now I got to learn her as a mother, because the best friend is different from the girlfriend. The girlfriend is different from the wife. The wife is different from the mother. The mother side was like, you see this whole different kind of, you see this aggressive side. But it's that mother duck kind of syndrome where it's just like, I will fight for my kids. I will do anything for my children. If it is my husband, move out of the way.
Right.
But then it's like, but some of the counsel that we got was so good though, because we were advised and we were helped out along the process of our first child to continue to date, to continue to put our marriage first, even before the child, to continue to make time for each other, because obviously that time is divided. But then your priorities are also different too. So,
right.
She's, excuse me, might be taking care of the kids. You get home from work and you're like, hey, what's up? By the time and wait all day, like I'm ready to get some. And then she like, nope.
Yeah.
Baby got to eat. Baby got to get washed up. Baby got to get cleaned up. And so like that changed a lot. Of course, with us, pastoring the church, that was a whole nother adjustment as well. But a lot of those changes come, with any of those transitions. If they lost a loved one, if they lost somebody really close to them, that's another transition. It's another adjustment. And so there's plenty of adjustments that come along the way. And so for me, man, it really just always goes back to being able to communicate through those processes, to be able to move into turns. As an example, I used to ride bikes, used to ride motorcycles, and she wasn't a huge fan of it, but this was before we were married. So I guess she was probably just trying to impress me or something. And so, she would ride with me then. She definitely would not now, but she did. And so, but the first thing I told her when she got on, I said, the most important thing for you to do, other than holding on, of course, is to lean with me in the turns. I said, that's the most important thing. I said, if we go right and I lean right and you decide you want to sit up, this bike is going straight. We're not making this turn. Yeah. And so even with that analogy, like she understood that. But that's a kind of a direct correlation to even our marriage. It's like we're able to bend in the turns together. And when you don't, that thing will sit straight up. and you will crash. And so in every single transition that happens in life, it's almost like you almost got to have another check-in. Just like, hey, where you at? This is where I'm at. This is how I feel. This is what, this is what I'm thinking. This is where my emotions are at. This is where my feelings are at. And you said it, even being vulnerable, which is, kind of a segue even to the next point is just being vulnerable. As a man, like, you have to be able, like, this is your wife.
Yeah.
This woman took your last name. This is in some cases the mother of your children.
Yeah.
I mean, sacrifice her body for your babies, like, and you don't feel like you can be open and transparent with her. You know what I mean? Like, so for me, like, being able to have those conversations, but the scariest part about being vulnerable, about being open, about being transparent is obviously insecurity. It is, what is she going to think about me after I share this? Can I still be the man after I admit that I'm weak right now? Is she still going to see me in my weakness even after I've gotten over it and now I'm strong again? Like, and those are real questions that I think a lot of men ask themselves. It's just like, I don't know if I can. Ironically, again, just today, I was laughing with my wife. We were talking about something, but we ended up getting on the subject. I told her, before we got married, one of my biggest fears, and I can say this because I'm confident in my manhood, but like my one of my biggest fears going into marriage was just like, all of the other ladies, women, girls that may have been trying to get my attention, they were just in love with maybe the idea or maybe just the platform. I was doing a lot before I got married and traveling a lot, and they were just, I think they may have just been infatuated with the idea of maybe what they saw on a platform, right? But the thing that was scariest the most was just like, man, but what if somebody gets to know me beyond the stage?
Ooh.
What if somebody gets to know me beyond the lights? And like, that scared me because I'm like, dang, they're not really going to see me as a Superman anymore. Like, I'm no longer a superhero. Like, I'm no longer this really strong guy. I'm no longer the man of their dreams. I'm no longer any of those things that they thought I was. But now I'm just, oh, bro, he's just an average Joe. Like, he ain't even really about nothing. Like, he puts on a good show, but like, he don't do nothing behind closed doors. You know what I mean? Like, that was one of my biggest fears. So once we got married, it was just like, it was hard being open and vulnerable and transparent because I'm just like, I want to still be that guy. I want to be your knight in shining armor. I want to be the strong guy for you. I want to be the person you cry to. I want to be the person running to you, whining about everything. Like, I want to be that guy. And if I am vulnerable with you, can I trust that you're not going to use this against me? Is this going to be something that you bring up in an argument?
That's one of those common themes that I'm hearing from all of the guys that we're talking to, is just that vulnerability piece. Yeah. And I think I don't remember. I'm trying to remember correctly. I think you might have been in the room when we did the Clubhouse. Am I a safe space? I don't remember.
Yes, I remember. I don't know if I was on the stage, and I don't remember, but I do remember being in that room.
Yeah, and one of the things that came out of that is, for men, it takes one time for us to be vulnerable, and then for the wife to use it against us, or
Absolutely.
turn it around in the moment, and it's like, okay, we shutting down. So then we become hard.
Absolutely.
But that goes to our ego. We got our ego hurt. We got our feelings hurt. But if this is the person that we're saying we're going to spend the rest of our life with, if we're going to have kids, if we already have kids, I think it takes the man to be vulnerable again, to open up and say, hey, I shared my feelings with you, and this is how you responded, and this is how it made me feel. And I think for a lot, even that last statement that I just made, for a lot of men, we don't know how to say,
you don't have language.
This is how this made me feel. And I think if we can get over that hurdle as husbands and be vulnerable and transparent with our spouses, and that communicate, because it's going to build communication. You're creating that dialogue with your spouse. You did, and I love what you asked your wife when you go back to the thrift store. I did. I'm gonna take that, because my wife always tells me, she'd be like, "Man, you done lost your swag." I was like, and I told, look, I said, no, my priorities changed. Like,
priorities changed.
My priorities changed.
Exactly. Bro, I need to, and I'm glad you pointed it out, because I was about to stop you on that. What you said about this is how it made me feel, bro. That could be the title of a book, honestly. Like, that could be a whole book by that language, that sentence, exactly how you worded it. I say it all the time. Like, matter of fact, I'll use it an example. Was counseling this couple, anonymous, of course, who they are having communication problems. And
Mm-hmm.
so, guys like, she don't listen to me. The wife is like, he don't listen to me. Constantly going back and forth. And so we're giving them tools to use to be able to talk to each other. Ironically, they want the same exact thing, but they don't know how to put it in a language where they can hear each other. So they're constantly saying, you don't listen to me. Why are you talking over top of me? You're making me upset every
Yep.
time you do this. And so some of the language that we gave them was, instead of saying you always, just say, this is how it made me feel.
Yep.
You can't combat
You
that.
can't.
I'm
Yeah,
not saying you're a horrible person. I'm saying it made me feel horrible. Right. So
man.
how can we change how this makes me feel? You know what I'm saying? And even as a guy, like you said, it's hard to talk about how you feel. It's hard to talk about your feelings because it's like, dang, once I do, there's a chance that I might get shot.
Man, look, I'm getting so many ideas, Ty. I'm telling you, I'm getting so many ideas.
Go for it. Go for it.
Like, I'm just, man, I'm thinking of, I ain't gonna share it here yet because I think I'm gonna monetize it. I'll share it with you after when we get off.
Yep.
But the language,
Language,
and my bachelor's is in English, so I pride myself on
yes,
on being able to articulate, and I pull out my big words when I need them, but then I can throw the slang. But the language, never, ever, always, every time.
Absolutely.
It's like those are key words. Like
those are triggers.
Do you really mean every time somebody does this, or is it only some of the time?
Right.
And this is how it makes you feel when they do this. But is it every single time?
Yeah.
Do they always do this?
So the fact that you're like, that's your thing. English is your thing. Words are your things. You also understand that usually the bullies are the ones that don't know how to use their words, right? Usually the men who are the most disrespectful, who the women say are the most rude, or treat them the worst, they don't have language.
Mm-hmm.
And it's unfortunate because, like, you can only be so upset with somebody who doesn't have in their vocabulary or doesn't have the tools to do a job, right? Plumber shows up, he don't got the tools to do it. Dang, bro, what are you gonna do? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you don't got the tools, then you can't. You can fool around as much as you want, but
right,
you're not gonna solve anything. And that's what we need as men. We need language. I feel like if men had language, I feel like a lot of these marriages would be much healthier, because then while she's fussing, instead of you just getting mad and storming out, you could actually talk. You'd actually have a rebuttal, but we storm out because we you know what? Not doing this today. I'm out of here. I'm going to my mom's house.
Man, and it goes back to the communication piece. And just like I said, what you said to your wife in the car when you got the thrift, why don't you like this, or what don't you like about this? In those moments, especially for husbands, if we can, and I'm a work in progress. I ain't perfect. I'm only 5 years in, so I bump my heads every now and then.
Me too.
But if we can learn, okay, why did you say this the way you said it? Mm-hmm. Why did you respond this way?
Mm-hmm.
Versus, why do you see this opposite from the way I see it? Mm-hmm. That goes into the perspective, because majority of arguments is I have my perspective, you have your perspective, you want this done your way, I want it done my way. But if we can take a step back, why do you see it that way? Mm-hmm. Why do you think we need to go this way? And I'm telling, man,
and so even with those conversations, I'm sure you've experienced it before, but excuse me, you can say the same thing, the same exact words, but either your tone, your intonation, or your body language, your facial expressions, and they can mean two totally different things. You can say, what you say? You can say, what'd you say? You know what I mean? Like it's a lot of things that my wife used to do or say, where I used to ask questions, and I would say something like, she'll say, hey, put it in the dishwasher like this. I would say, well, why do you do it like that? She would get offended because she thinks I'm questioning her judgment.
Yeah.
But instead, I'm like, no, honestly, I just really want to know, because if there's a better way to do it, this is how it needs to be done. Maybe
Right.
I can learn something. I don't want to just do it just to do it. I want to understand why we're doing it this way. So when you're not here, I don't got nobody to ask. I understand. I know. But what I mean, knowing how to approach, knowing how to have those conversations and not just flying off the handle, but being able to communicate, to use the right words, knowing what your wife's triggers are.
Man,
And then
that's
in the
huge.
heat of the moment, not using those triggers, not saying those words that oh yeah, this one going, all right, I
This
know
one.
she's gonna flip after this
Yeah,
one.
I
This
know.
one get her.
Man,
That's tough.
I'm gonna tell you, for me and my wife is, I mean, she scored astronomical on the love languages when we did the test and acts of
Mhm.
service. And so
Okay.
our marriage counselors told us from the get-go, they were like, Jay, you're gonna have to work your butt off.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and I grew up in a single parent household until my mom got
Okay.
married to my stepfather. So for me, dishes was I eat and I put my plate in the sink and my mom takes care of it. Even
Oh,
when
you about to say something. Go ahead.
even when she got married and we upgraded to a dishwasher in our new house, it was we rinsed the plate off, me and my stepbrothers, put it in the sink. My mom would load the dishwasher until we got to the point where she would like, okay, put it in the dishwasher, load it from the front or the back to the front. Now, I get married, I'm going with that same ideology.
Yep.
I done ate good. I'm gonna rinse my plate off. I'm gonna put it in the sink. Now, if it's there in the morning, that ain't my fault.
Right, right.
You know, because growing up, my mom always put it up. You know, and so now it's a constant battle. And Destiny just said it to me last week. She was like, "Why can't you just put the dish from the sink to the dishwasher?" And I had to go to her one day and was like, "Can you just come and show me how to load the thing like you want it loaded?" Because even when I put it in there, I'm like, okay. She said one time, she was like, "You put it in there, but you loaded it wrong." I'm like,
Hmm.
man,
Yeah.
how hard can it
Bro,
be to load a dishwasher?
so even that, me and my wife had to have a conversation even about our language. So like for me, I'd volunteer. She wouldn't ask me. I'd just say, hey, this need to be done. I see the things filled up and put dishes in the dishwasher. I'll go over, I start putting them in. She comes over. Down, go right there. Wait a minute. Let's start with thank you for doing the
Man,
dishes. I really appreciate you taking the initiative. Let me help you out a little bit. If you put this here, then it'll save water. If you put this here, it won't block the spout from shooting water. Whatever it is. But you know what I mean? Thank you
right,
for taking the initiative, right? That was one of my triggers. Was like every time if I'm out cutting the grass, hey, you missed blah 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 blah. Hey, wait a minute, wait a minute. We
come
had to
on,
have those.
man.
We had to have those conversations. But for her, it was just like, no. If I see something, I'm gonna call it out to the point where. And I can talk about it. I mean, because we're good now. We communicate. We walk through all of this stuff. What you see is what you get. We transparent.
Right.
We talk about it because we got a healthy relationship. We could talk about the dirt.
Hey,
But like we would have these conversations to the point where it would get like, look, don't ever talk to me like that again. That doesn't work for me. If you
mhm.
want to see me shut down, that's precisely how to do it.
How did man?
If you don't want me to talk, that's precisely how you get that reaction out. But I don't want that for us. I want to talk. But when you come at me like this, like approach, you know what I mean? Like you can't just run up on somebody and just start barking commands. It's like, hey, how are you doing? Let's start there, maybe. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But those were triggers for me. So after we sat down and we had those kind of tough conversations, which some people might think are simple conversations, but those things can turn into massive problems. After we had those conversations, then it's like now she approaches me a little bit different. Hey, Bray, I appreciate you for doing that. Hey, you mind doing it like this? Hey, consider it like this. Hey, it might work out a little bit better if you know what I mean,
Yeah.
whatever. I had to catch myself too. She's
Mm-hmm.
she's backing the car out of the driveway, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" I ain't gonna tell on her, but anyway,
she ain't hit nothing, did she?
I mean, you know what I mean? Like it ain't. It is what it
It
is.
is what it is. It is what it is. I want to share this. I want to share this because I feel like everything you just said, I have gone through,
Mm-hmm.
And it's so amazing. And I think this is why these conversations are so important, because sometimes you can feel like I'm the only one that's going through this. Why am I going through this? But to hear you even talk about the exact same situation too,
Mm-hmm.
I'm fulfilling the acts of service to make you feel loved, and this is how you
Mm-hmm.
respond, and
Yep.
this is how it makes me feel. So in return, I shut down and I don't do said thing anymore. But I
Right.
feel like for us husbands, as we have these conversations and as people grow in their role as a husband, we learn to, okay, again, it goes back to, this is how it made me feel.
Mm-hmm.
This is how I would like you to respond. And you're almost, and I ain't trying to say teaching, but
Yeah, yeah,
you're
yeah,
almost
yeah. I got you.
you're teaching your spouse how to respond, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, and
No,
that's vice versa.
you're teaching them how you function. Like
Yep.
like this is what helps me to operate willingly. If you want to get the best response out of me, this is what I need. And I don't think there's anything wrong with letting somebody know what you need.
Man, that goes back to, and it's just so good. I'm telling you, man, it goes back to that communication, that vulnerability to even
Mm-hmm.
say this. And like I said, everything that you just said about the dishes and how your wife responded, and just a moment of transparency for me as well. My wife did the same thing, and I would use those trigger words every time I do this. You always, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like, does she really nitpick every single time, or is it just like maybe
I've
one,
said that.
And so, but my response to her was, this is why I don't do that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But it opened up a dialogue to, okay,
Exactly.
well, why don't you do it? So how do you want me to respond?
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's a work in progress. We're still growing, still learning. But now, like it was last week, I was like, can you again just come in here and show me how to do the dishes
Mm-hmm.
like you want them?
Yeah.
Because as soon as you open the dishwasher, I got stuff stacked on top of each other. I'm
Yep.
just like,
Yep.
as long as the water hit it, it's clean.
Yeah, right, exactly. But those are things that come with communication and figuring it out. Like, for me, my wife, she won't let me wash clothes. I messed it up too many times. So
But
now she's
you
like,
ain't put no bleach on color, did you?
"Nah, I ain't go that far." I didn't go that far. I just, just simple. I don't know, stuff that I didn't know that you needed to do. Forgive my ignorance, but after you wash the whites and bleach, then you got to put it on the wash cycle to clean the bleach out of the wash before you put another load in. And so for me, after I put some bleach in there, I
Wait a
take
minute.
the load out. I just put another load in.
Wait a minute, Ty. Run that back. Run that back.
So apparently,
Help us husbands out. Run that back.
yes, because I'm yesterday's years old on this one. So after you use bleach in the washer, and you take after the cycle is done, and you take it out, apparently, I guess some of the bleach is still in there. So you're supposed to run a wash cycle after that just by itself, just water to clean it out. And then you put a new load in there, like say you putting in colors or something.
Yeah, man, that's a head scratcher there, because
That's
I ain't never did that.
yeah. So imagine my response. So she was just like, well, how about this? We got a deal. How about you just fold? All right, you fold after they come out. I do this. So we had an agreement. That by itself, the whole rolls around the house. That's a whole another thing, because there's a whole lot of stuff
Man,
that she's really good at that a man might supposed to be good at that I'm not necessarily good at, and I don't feel less of a man by saying, look, you got a spreadsheet with the next 2 years of our lives mapped out financially. My budget is what we got coming in this month and what we got to pay out this month.
man.
Obviously, you got a better plan. Yes, she's still checking. Hey, can I buy this? Yeah, hey, can we purchase this? Hey, let's talk about doing this. Let's move some money around. Yeah, boom, boom, boom. We still talk about it. But for her, I'm like, bro, you got this.
But you know what? And I'm gonna wrap this up, because man, I feel like Ty, we could talk all night. But
Yeah,
that goes back.
absolutely.
That goes back to that S word that you didn't want to say there. That goes back to submission.
Yeah.
And that submission is not only for the wives to submit to the
It's not. It
husband.
says submit yourselves one
Husbands
to
should,
another.
right. And so even in that, let's make it practical for husbands. Even in that, I'm submitting and understanding that I'm not strong in this area, and my spouse is stronger than me in this area. So I'm gonna submit my will, my desires, my pride, and say, hey, you can handle this area. And that's a hard conversation. And I think a lot of times when we come to that word to submit, it's just the husband, you putting your foot down, you need to listen
Yep.
to me. And it's like, no, we're a team. We're a team. You're
Exactly.
strong in this area. I'm strong in this area, and we are an unstoppable team when you can submit one to another. But man, I'm telling you, Ty, you got it. Wait, last one. You got one more.
Only thing I'm gonna close with is just what you said, man. Like my wife told me one time, she was just like, man, it does it for me when you say I need you. She said to hear you say I need you, that's everything for her. I know at any given moment, like I could say that I don't. Now I don't say it every day, guys. You know what I mean? But every once in a while, like I say it, but like that does it for her to know that I'm not just this guy out in the front. She's pushed back way in the back. She does whatever I say. I boss her around, but she's like, brother, we are a unit. We're a couple. I need her. I'm trash without my wife, man. Willing to admit that.
Look, I'm telling you. Had I listened to my wife, I wouldn't have a broke foot right now.
I'm telling you,
like,
she is the upgrade.
I'm telling you. I have ended every one of these Husbands 101 with this question. But before I ask the question, I want to say thank you for coming on, man. This has been an amazing content. For those who joined, man, me and Ty were talking prior to me hitting record, and it was like, wait, we gotta stop talking because we gotta talk about that on the podcast, But again, thank you, Ty. If y'all have not, make sure you stop what you're doing. Follow Ty on Instagram, and I am Ty Francis. It'll be linked in the show notes. Also follow on his Instagram, Flowing Life Church. And check out Flowing Life Church website at www.flowinglife.org. Also go over to their Facebook. Check them out on Sundays at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Check out their live worship services. My wife and I, we might pop up in Charlotte one Sunday, man.
Pop up, y'all.
We're gonna pop up. But my question that I want us to conclude with: if you could give one charge to the husbands, what would that charge be?
This is a tough one. Love your wife unconditionally.
We're gonna end it with that. Love your wife unconditionally.
With the focus on unconditionally, bro. Like love her. Love conquers everything. Love conquers all. Love covers offenses. Love can do some amazing things, man. When you feel like she being petty and she being spiteful and you love her, she be like, bro, this man really love me. Let me go ahead and change. Love to do it, man.
Man, that's it. We're gonna end with that because I want to follow up, but we're gonna end with that. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, go follow Ty. But we'll see you on the next episode.
And let me know when you're doing your men's conference.
Hey,
I need to, even if it's virtual, I need to hear about that.
We're gonna talk offline.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So make sure y'all check out the More Love Connection podcast, subscribe, and we'll be back with more content next week. Hey, More Love Nation. If you've enjoyed this content, be sure to hit the like and subscribe button. That way you can be notified every time we release a new episode. Also, make sure you check out the video right here